A man climbed into a lion enclosure, drunk, smiling, and tried to shake their hands. A woman reached toward a 500-pound Bengal tiger. The only reason she still has that hand is because she pulled back 1 inch in time. 15 people, 15 moments caught on camera. Each one looked at a barrier, a warning sign, or a predator, and decided the rules didn't apply to them. Some walked away, one didn't. This is what happens when humans forget, even for just 1 second. That wild animals are exactly that. Number 15. The man who tried to shake hands with lions. Hyderabad's Nehru Zoo Park. A normal afternoon. People stood in front of the lion enclosure, taking photos and enjoying themselves. But then, a heavily drunk man quietly pushed through the crowd, crossed the railing, and jumped 12 feet down into the water below. The same water that sat inside the lions area. People screamed. Guards shouted, "Stop! Come back!" But the man was in a world of his own. He swam toward the lions, smiling, and actually tried to shake their hands. Hey! The lions stared. They tensed up, but they never attacked. Why? Because at that exact moment, their feeding time began. The caretaker's voice pulled their attention away, and just like that, the man's life was spared. Zoo staff rushed in, lowered a long pole, and pulled him out with great difficulty. He was handed straight to the police and later charged under the Wildlife Protection Act. But think about this. If that feeding bell had rung even 5 minutes later, we would not be telling this story the same way. Number 14. Too close with a panda. Most people hear the word bear and feel instant fear. But pandas, they look soft, calm, and harmless. And that false sense of safety is exactly what got one man into serious trouble. In 2016 at Nanchang Zoo in China, a man named Chen decided he wanted to prove something. A panda named Meling was sleeping peacefully in his enclosure. Chen saw an opportunity. He slowly climbed in, moved closer, and began calling out to the sleeping animal. Bad idea. The moment Meling's eyes opened, he attacked. Chen was caught in the panda's grip, struggling desperately before finally breaking free. Doctors confirmed no serious injuries, but the encounter left him shaken. When police asked him why he did it, his answer was almost as shocking as the incident itself. He wanted to impress 2 women he was with. He wanted to look brave. Instead, he looked like a man who nearly got mauled by an animal most people consider cute. And that is exactly the lesson here. A panda may look like a stuffed toy, but underneath that black and white coat is a powerful wild animal that will defend itself without hesitation. Looking harmless and being harmless are 2 very different things. Number 13. Child in a gorilla enclosure. Summer 1986. Durrell Wildlife Park, Channel Islands. In a single unguarded moment, a 5-year-old boy named Levon Merritt lost his footing at the top of the gorilla enclosure wall and fell straight in. He hit the ground hard and lay there completely unconscious. The crowd erupted in screams. Everyone watching expected the worst, but what happened next stopped them all cold. Jumbo, the largest gorilla in the enclosure, walked toward the boy. People held their breath. But instead of attacking, Jumbo stood over him like a guardian. He kept the other gorillas back, and then gently, almost carefully, stroked the boy's back. When Levon finally regained consciousness and began to cry, the gorillas slowly backed away on their own, as if they understood. Zoo staff moved in and safely pulled the boy out. Levon survived with no life-threatening injuries. This story is different from the others on this list. Nobody was being reckless. Nobody was showing off. It was a terrible accident, and yet it delivered one of the most powerful reminders of all. Sometimes the animal we fear the most is the one that shows us the most unexpected compassion. Number 12. Taipei Lion Enclosure. Taipei, Taiwan, 2004. What happened that day at the city zoo was not an accident. It was not a dare. It was something far stranger than either. A man named Cheng Chong-ho climbed over the barrier and dropped himself into the lion enclosure. Then he turned to the lions and began shouting. He told them Jesus would save them. He believed in that moment that he was living out the biblical story of Daniel in the lion's den. The lions ignored him at first, but the man grew bolder. He moved closer, and that was when they attacked. They lunged at his hand and tore through his clothes before zoo staff could intervene. Water hoses and tranquilizers were used to push the lions back, and the man was pulled out. Miraculously, his injuries were minor. Once again, timing played a role. The lions had just been fed. Cheng was believed to be suffering from a serious mental illness, completely disconnected from the reality of what he was walking into. But whether it was faith, delusion, or sheer luck that kept him alive that day, one thing is certain. Those lions did not have to show him mercy, and the next person who tries something like this may not receive the same. Number 11. Swimming with polar bears. Zoos put up barriers, barbed wire, and warning signs for a reason. Every single one of them is there to keep people alive. But in 2009 at Berlin Zoo, one woman decided none of that applied to her. She jumped into the polar bear enclosure. Not by accident, not out of confusion. She climbed over the barriers and dropped herself in, right in the middle of feeding time. For a brief moment, she seemed completely at ease, as if she had no idea what was sharing that water with her. Then the bear found her. It bit into her arms and legs with the kind of force that polar bears are built for. Staff reacted immediately, throwing a rope and pulling her toward safety. But just as she was nearly out, she slipped and fell back into the water. The bears came at her again. The second rescue attempt worked. She was pulled out and rushed to hospital, where she spent a long time recovering from her injuries. There are no words to explain what drove her to do it, but the outcome speaks clearly enough. Those bears were not playing. They were not curious. They were doing exactly what they were built to do. Number 10. The woman who was in love with a lion. Most people who end up on this list acted out of recklessness, stupidity, or pure impulse. But this story is different. This one was planned. At the Bronx Zoo in New York City, a woman showed up dressed in a tight red dress, a brassy blonde wig, and carrying a bouquet of roses. She climbed over a barrier and made her way as close as she could to the lion enclosure, all while throwing $100 bills at the lion and declaring her love out loud. But here is where it gets even more shocking. This was not her first time. Back in 2019, a woman named Maya Autry did the exact same thing at the exact same zoo. She was charged with criminal trespassing and banned from the premises entirely, so she came back in disguise. The blonde wig was her attempt to sneak past security and get back to the animal she believed she had a connection with. A zoo spokesman confirmed that a deep trench prevented her from getting into the same space as the lions. But wildlife expert Ron McGill put it plainly. That animal is still wild. It does not know her. It does not love her back. And it could have killed her without a second thought. No disguise changes that. No bouquet of roses does either. Number 9. Sharla and the Chimpanzee. People often look at chimpanzees and see something familiar, something almost human. Intelligent eyes, expressive faces, playful behavior. It is easy to forget what they are truly capable of. Sharla Nash learned that lesson in the most devastating way imaginable. On February 16, 2009, Sharla visited her friend Sandra's home. Sandra had raised a chimpanzee named Travis from childhood, caring for him like her own son. He had appeared in movies and advertisements, He was, by all accounts, a well-trained and well-loved animal. But that day, something shifted. Charla arrived to find Travis attacking Sandra. Without hesitation, she fought to pull him off, striking him repeatedly. For a brief moment, it worked. Travis released Sandra. Then he turned to Charla. What followed was something no words can fully capture. Travis tore into her face with a ferocity that left her eyes, nose, and ears destroyed. He bit through her hands so savagely that she lost her fingers. By the time police arrived, Charla was lying on the floor, completely soaked in blood. Doctors saved her life, but they could not restore her face. After months of treatment, she underwent a full face transplant. Today, Charla speaks openly about what happened, not out of bitterness, but out of warning. No matter how long you raise a wild animal, no matter how much you love it, you can never fully take the wild out of it. Travis proved that, and Charla carries that proof every single day. Number 8. The woman who fed Cheetos to spider monkeys. May 2021. El Paso Zoo, Texas. A woman named Luz Lucy Ray visited the zoo with a friend and decided to do something that left the entire world speechless. She hopped a fence, pushed through some bushes, dropped 4 feet down into a moat, waded through the water, and climbed right into the spider monkey enclosure. And she did not come empty-handed. She brought Cheetos. As the zoo director himself described it, she hopped a fence, climbed through some bushes, dropped into a 4 feet deep moat, walked across and tried to feed the spider monkeys. The whole thing was filmed by another visitor and went viral almost instantly. But here is what the video does not show you. Spider monkeys are strong animals with canine teeth, and zookeepers at the El Paso Zoo warned that while they may be small, they can take you to the ground if they wanted to. Lucy was completely unprotected, standing in their space, their territory, with no training, no equipment, and no idea what those animals were truly capable of. As she walked back through the moat, a monkey charged at her before being stopped by the water barrier. She laughed it off. She was arrested, fired from her job, and banned from the zoo. And when asked what she learned from the whole experience, her response was stunning. She said she learned to keep the Cheetos to herself. Not that she endangered herself, not that she put the animals at risk, just that she should not share her snacks. Some people walk away from close calls with a lesson. Lucy Ray walked away with a bag of Cheetos and 0 regrets. Number 7. Face to face with a Bengal tiger. On August 18, 2024, at Cohanzick Zoo in South Jersey, surveillance footage captured something that left everyone who watched it completely breathless. A woman climbed over a fence near the tiger enclosure, walked right up to Mahisha, a 500-pound Bengal tiger, and stuck her hand out toward the animal. No barrier, no protection, nothing between her hand and the jaws of one of the most powerful predators on the planet. Mahisha lunged, close enough to snap, close enough that another inch could have ended very differently. But the woman pulled back just in time, turned around, and casually hopped back over the fence as if nothing had happened. The Bridgeton Police Department posted the footage and immediately launched a search for the woman. What is perhaps most chilling about this story is not the danger she was in. It is how unbothered she appeared walking away, as if she had no idea how close she had just come to losing her hand or her life. Mahisha did not flinch, did not hesitate. That lunge was not a warning. It was an attempt, and she was lucky it did not connect. Number 6. A dangerous photo op with an alligator. Some people will do almost anything for the perfect shot, and for one family on a jungle walk, that desire nearly cost them everything. They spotted an alligator lying completely still by the water's edge, calm, unbothered, almost peaceful. So they did what far too many people do. They moved closer, first from a distance, snapping photos, then a little closer, then closer still. And then one woman reached out her hand to touch it. The alligator moved before anyone could even process what was happening. In a fraction of a second, those jaws snapped shut around her hand. Screaming erupted. People scattered in every direction. By some miracle, she broke free. But here is what most people do not understand about alligators. That stillness is not laziness. It is patience. They are built to wait and built to strike. And when they do, there is almost no time to react. She was lucky. The alligator did not pull her in, because if it had, no amount of screaming or scrambling would have saved her. Number 5. Man versus spider monkeys. Some people walk into danger with a plan. Others stumble into it without even realizing what is happening. João Leite dos Santos was firmly in the second category. In 2011, the mechanic from Sao Paulo, Brazil, visited Sorocaba Zoo after a heavy night of drinking. By his own admission, he remembered nothing of what happened next. But the video remembered everything. It showed him climbing the enclosure fence, dropping down into the pond below, and swimming straight toward a group of spider monkeys. Now here is what most people do not know about spider monkeys. They are not friendly, they are not curious. They are fiercely territorial animals that treat any uninvited presence in their space as a direct threat. And João was very much uninvited. As he got closer, the monkeys moved toward him. For a brief moment it may have looked harmless, but then one of them clamped down hard on his wrist. Another went for his shoulder and arm. The attack was fast and brutal. João suddenly understood the gravity of what he had done. He turned around, swam back to the fence, and zoo staff pulled him out. His wounds were severe enough to require hospitalization. Police charged him with negligence. He said he remembered nothing, but his body remembered every single second of it. Number 4. The Jaguar selfie. In 2019, at Wildlife World Zoo in Litchfield Park, Arizona, a woman in her 30s made a decision that nearly cost her her arm. She crossed a barrier. Not by accident, not out of confusion. She deliberately stepped past the safety barrier at the Jaguar enclosure because she wanted a closer photo. The Jaguar did not wait for an invitation. In an instant, it reached through the enclosure and sank its claws into her arm. She screamed. People around her panicked. And in that moment, with a jaguar's grip locked onto her, there was nothing she could do. Then a bystander named Adam Wilkerson did something remarkable. He grabbed a water bottle and used it to distract the jaguar, drawing its attention just long enough for it to release her. She was rushed to a nearby hospital where she received several stitches for a deep gash on her left forearm. The fire department confirmed it plainly. She crossed the barrier. She put herself in that position, and she was lucky that a stranger nearby had the presence of mind to save her. The jaguar did nothing wrong. It was in its own space. She was the one who crossed the line, literally. A selfie. That was all it was worth to her. Almost her entire arm. Number 3. Never taunt an orangutan. June 6, 2022. Kasang Kulim Zoo, Riau Province, Indonesia. The zoo staff had stepped away for their lunch break, and 19-year-old Hassan Al-Arifin saw his opportunity. He hopped over the safety barrier, walked straight up to the orangutan enclosure, and began taunting an orangutan named Tina. He was filming the whole thing for social media content, completely convinced it would make for an entertaining video. He had no idea how right he was. Tina grabbed Arifin's shirt and pulled him hard toward the cage. She refused to let go, yanking him repeatedly even as a passerby rushed over to help. She flipped him sideways, locked her grip around his legs, and held on with a strength that left everyone watching completely helpless. The man outside grabbed at him, pulling desperately. But Tina was not letting go. Orangutans are built for climbing trees, and their grip strength is extraordinary. Every second his legs were locked in her hands was a second he was completely at her mercy. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity of desperate pulling and struggling, Tina finally loosened her grip and released him. He walked away without serious injury. He later apologized to the zoo publicly. His explanation for what he did was simple. He said he just wanted to play with the orangutan. He said he loves animals. Tina, it is safe to say, did not feel the same way. Number 2. Never leave your car. There is one rule at every drive-through safari park in the world. Just one. Stay inside your car. It is printed on signs, announced over speakers, written in multiple languages. It could not be clearer. And yet, in 2018, at Beeksebergen Safari Park, near Tilburg in the Netherlands, a French family decided that rule did not apply to them. They opened their car doors, stepped outside, and walked straight toward a group of cheetahs. The cheetahs were still at first. Then they spotted the family. They rose to their feet instantly, bodies low, eyes locked, ready to strike. The family froze for a split second before panic took over. They turned and scrambled desperately back to the car, diving inside just in time. The safari park owners were remarkably direct about what had just happened. They said the family's survival was nothing short of a miracle. A cheetah can reach speeds of over 70 miles per hour, faster than any human being could ever hope to run. If those animals had committed to that attack, no amount of screaming or scrambling would have saved anyone. Some rules exist for a reason, and that reason is always the same: to keep you alive. Number 1. The boy who wanted to tame lions. Of everything on this list, this is the story that lingers. The one that does not let go long after the video ends. December 2025. Arruda Câmara Zoo Botanical Park in João Pessoa, Brazil. A normal day at the zoo. Families walking around, children pointing at animals, the sounds of an ordinary afternoon. And then, Gerson de Melo Machado, 19 years old, began to climb. He scaled a wall over 26 feet high, dropped down into a tree on the other side, and slid himself directly into the lioness enclosure. The enclosure of a lioness named Leona. What drove him to do it was not recklessness in the way we have seen throughout this countdown. It was not alcohol. It was not a dare. It was not a desperate attempt to impress anyone. Gerson had a dream. From the time he was a child, all he ever wanted was to become a lion tamer. He had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. He had been institutionalized multiple times. His child welfare counselor described his cognitive ability as no more than that of a 5-year-old. He did not fully understand the line between dream and reality, between a lion tamer in his imagination and a lioness standing right in front of him. Leona did not hesitate. The attack was swift and devastating. Horrified zoo visitors watched helplessly as it unfolded in front of them. There was nothing anyone could do in time. Gerson de Melo Machado did not survive. Of all the people on this list who crossed barriers, hopped fences, and ignored every warning sign placed in front of them, most walked away, shaken, injured, humbled, but alive. Gerson was not lucky enough to walk away. And perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this entire story is that he never truly understood the danger he was walking into. He just wanted to tame a lion. Every single person on this list had one thing in common. They all believed in that one defining moment that they would be fine, that the rules did not apply to them, that they were the exception. Some walked away, others did not. Wild animals are not props. They are not photo opportunities. They are exactly what nature made them: powerful, unpredictable, and untamed. And no barrier you cross will ever change that. If you made it to the end of this video, make sure you like and subscribe, because we have many more stories coming that you do not want to miss.